Tell me about the transition that you made more recently to leave that piece behind and what triggered this pink zebra moving, and then we'll get to the name.
Yeah, so it was a combination of a few factors, like big decisions always are. So step one was this again self-reflection that I was missing something, that personally I wasn't being as fulfilled as I had hoped and dreamed as a young adult, and so that led me down a few things, or at least a road to think about a few things. At the same time, we were in the not height of COVID, but pretty close to the peak of COVID. We were in, 2021. And so times were good in terms of cleaning services and, revenue was rolling in. But when we had a lot of KPIs, one of those KPIs is customer retention. There was a red flag with that particular KPI data point. And I was worried that once the wave slowed down from this COVID demand, that KPI would rear its head and we would have some issues. And so I'm again very entrepreneurial, and so I didn't mind standing up in front of our network virtually at the time and say, "Hey, we have a problem." And it wasn't the world's best response because it was a bit of a get off my porch type situation because they were making more money than they ever made. Looked like the growth was going to go through the roof because we were growing like I'd never seen before. And most people were working less than they had ever worked before. And so telling someone that we got a problem, we got to fix, and that's going to require change, potentially even investment, was not a well received,
Hmm.
piece of wisdom. And so
Right.
I had to make a real decision there. Like, what do I do? Do I dig my heels in and say, well, this is my way or the highway? Because I think we have some loyalty issues in this business because our business there was very much built on recurring revenue. You hire us today, then you come back in 2 weeks and do it again. And if there's a termination or if there's a cancellation, there's no contract. You can cancel at any time. And so we were seeing some of that, unfortunately, even though, again, revenue was strong. And so I didn't know if I was ready for that kind of fight because, again, I'm a big fan I'm a people pleaser by nature. And so I didn't necessarily want to have this big world war. I just didn't feel like that was and something I wanted to do when we were at the best of times from a revenue perspective. And so I had to figure out what to do. And I didn't know if I sold the business what I would do next. I'd always loved home service and had always been on the lookout for other home service based opportunities, but I just couldn't find anything that was what I call disruptable until my mother-in-law, of all people, hired a local moving company right here in Birmingham, Alabama. It was, in a word, a nightmare. It was just really bad. Everything
Mm.
that you may have think of when you think bad moves happened to her and then some. Um, Price was much higher than she thought, damaged items, unprofessionalism. They laughed at her
Mm.
toward the end of the service. It was hard, but she was very emotional about it.
Mm.
And so when that occurred, I said to myself, well, I wonder if that's happening in other markets with other moving companies. I had relatively little experience with moving companies, other than it was okay. We had hired some people, they'd been okay, but nothing crazy. And I knew people in this industry that seemed to be doing well, but her experience was so poor, yet she still had to give them a lot of money that I thought if that is happening in other markets, that to me sounds like an opportunity.
Yeah.
So what I did, I just started searching. I went to Yelp and I checked out 3 markets. This is not the most well-researched thought process here, but I went to 3 markets, Seattle, Omaha, and Miami, and I went straight to the one-star reviews, read those reviews. They all, for the most part, matched my mother-in-law's experience.
Mm.
And that was enough validation for me to know that there was a problem in this industry, and decided on that day, while staring at those one-star Yelp reviews, that I would sell the business, sell 2 maids, and go all in on Pink Zebra Moving. So, and it made me feel great. Like, as scary as that sounds, as risky even as that sounds, it made me feel so much different.
Hmm.
And maybe it's because I'm just a startup entrepreneur by heart. I don't know, but I felt different immediately once I made that discovery about myself that that's what I was going to do.
Mm.